be you and I'll be me. It's just a matter of style. You can't fake it. Mile after mile, feeling free. If you got the soul, you can't fake it. Move 'em out. Let 'em roll. From sea to shining sea. What do you do when the mountain is there? How do you answer the challenging day? When your back's against the wall, what do you do when you've done it all? Cannonball. 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 It's not what you do, it's how you do. Be anything you want to be. It's not what you got, it's how you do. You be you and I'll be me. It's just a matter of style. You can't fake it. Mile after mile, feet to feet. If you got the soul, you can't fake it. Move 'em out. Let 'em roll. From sea to shining sea. Cannonball. Hey, now, cannonball. 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 Cannonball.
Yes, indeed. Good afternoon, morning, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers, and sisters. This is the Apex Online Racing Project Cars 2 Endurance League Season 3, Round number 2 here at Le Mans. My name is King-Kodiak, and I will be your commentator throughout this 2 hours of racing at this monstrous, this glorious classic circuit. Now, do not be fooled. It is not just the track that these guys have to contend with. It's scheduled for rain in this 2-hour race, so we will have quite an interesting lineup. We have got 18 GTEs currently out there trying to set their qualifying times. Been flicking through them during the introduction sequence. We have got 10 LMP2s waiting for their turn to get out there and get on with the job. The first 10 minutes of the 20-minute qualifying session is for the GTEs, and the remaining 5 minutes will be for the LMP2s. They don't have long. It's such a long circuit. It takes most of the 5 minutes they've got. It takes the majority of the 5 minutes stint to go around the lap one. So let's have a look through who we've got. We've got Talon in the Ferrari. We've got Heidi in the Corvette, who's going very, very slowly through. I think it's Porsche curves he's coming through. It is, I believe. On this map, the Corvette curves in the second half. I beg your pardon. How apt for the guy he's in. Another Corvette is Villalobos. He's just coming onto the Hanardier, which is the first half of that straight. Well, it's actually that entire straight. It's called the Hanardier, and then is the Mulsanne turn at the end of it. Right, oh, that's a little bit close. He's just coming through the Tetra Rouge. Sequence of quarters just after the S's. T3 Coffee, or Coffee. Ooh, he got a little bit twitchy there into that first chicane. Now, his name I do not recognise. Didn't see this particular entrant from last week. I wasn't sure how you're going to pronounce this. Gaitan, perhaps? Just not an unusual pronunciation. I do apologise. Or Gutan, maybe. FR assuming meaning. This person is from France. I wholeheartedly apologise if I'm getting the pronunciation wrong. I'll go with Gutan. Shad, also in the red and white Ferrari. It looks like they're practising a bit of slipstreaming down the Hanardier, heading to the second of the chicanes. There is Morvik, the second Ford we saw alongside Kalfi, I think it was. Who else have we got? We have got Slavak. with us once again in the yellow Ford. We have got Oblator in his very striking black Ford. He is on the second section, I think that is, of the Henardier. We have got Clank in the Corvette. He's just come across the line. I'm not seeing any times on the board just yet because people have completed their outlaps and they only have one shot to get a decent lap in. There is not enough time for them to complete 2 laps in their allocated 10 minutes, although I would suspect that the GTEs will be allowed to complete their second lap, just despite the fact they must not hold up the LMP2s. MTZ in a Corvette, a very distinctive roar as he's coming down. Whoops! That's a little bit too deep. No, he managed to avoid the bollards. Well played. That looked very slippery, that Corvette. Actually, he just did not want to grip at all. Flash to the lights there, I think. From the car behind, Dedra Ginetta, also in a black Ford. He's heading down the Henardier as well. Dawu in the M6. I am not expecting the M6s to be too strong here, but I've been proven wrong before when I have made these predictions, so we will see how Dawu does. We have got Iceberg in the orange, red and black Corvette, heading down towards, that is the Indianapolis turn. He's, sorry, Arnage is the one he's just gone through. Indianapolis was the one before. Warm tyre in the Ford. Pretty disastrous run last time out, and let's hope for better luck for him. Here's a guy in the Ferrari. He's just gone through Arnage himself, and there we go, the race feed box not giving me anything useful there. And Andrex has already had an argument with something. He is in his trusty M6, which has been slightly rearranged. Looking at that, one assumes there's a bit of a lag movement. We actually saw the same thing happen in the GT3 race this week at COTA. It was strangely Andrex's M6 that was slightly rearranged. So that's all of our GTEs. Now I know Tallinn was late to the session, so he's going to be stuck on the timing bucket. We have our first time on the board is Villalobos 3:56.686. So even on a good day, that's you can see just how long it takes these GTEs to get around. We've got some more times coming in as Villalobos heads back to the... Look at that! Look how long this track is. And with it taking 3 minutes 56, and you still got the top 2 times at the present. Of course, more times are going to come in. 36 thousandths apart. Brilliant stuff, and that was by Gitan 64 on his debut race here at Apex on Racing. So welcome to you. A couple of seconds down is Iceberg in the Corvette. So a decent effort there. Shad, another second down. They're actually just under. Ooh, what a warm tyre as he slipped into 4th position in his Ford with that 3:59, 1:34 and 1:59.95, just shy of the 4-minute mark is Shad as well, and 4:21 is Calfee, and I imagine he's going to continue to press on and see where he ends up. Of course, Tallinn, we don't know where he has appeared now. Who's just jumped up? It's MTZ that's jumped into the mixture in his silver Corvette. I am hoping I don't have too many. Oh, now there's Andrex in the M6 and Dawu 3rd and 4th within a second of the top spot. There's me saying the M6 isn't going to be strong here. Oh, me of little faith. Morvik's getting close to his teammate. That's on the Henardier straight. Now I'm hoping I don't have too many in the timing bug. So. Ooh, that's very, very close. Sorry, I'm just put off by the fact that Morvik's closing in very heavily on the Ford ahead of him. Not 100% sure. Oh, we've just lost. Oh no, we've just gained someone actually. I'm not 100% sure who was it. No, unless Nozigo reappeared. Oh, I think it might have gained Nick Mido. It is indeed. Now it looks like the LMP2s are going to come out to play with less than 10 minutes to go. So the LMP2s are now going to come out. The reason why I never want anyone stuck on the timing bug, quite frankly. But in endurance racing, it makes it that much more difficult to see where they are because it's very often that people are on very different laps. So we will see how that pans out. Fortunately, we are going to have a few stuck in that. That is the nature of the beast, unfortunately, but we will do our best with it. Hello to those that are in this stream with us live as this race is going out. Very much thank you for your attendance. It is a great pleasure to commentate for you guys for this event. So the LMP2s should now be coming out. We've got TX3 Endless. Pretty much all of the LMP2s, I think, are Ligiers. And pretty much all of them are running the Nissan Honda. Try that again. The Nissan engine, for what I am told. So Endless is with us. The next one is Tao Towner in the black and green Ligier as well. That's someone that's getting in the way, but they're on their out lap, so it won't make too much of a difference at the moment. Now there's another name I don't recognise, so welcome to you, Miroof? Miroof. Let's go with Miroof. Quite a big, heavy TX3 representation, so it's always welcome, of course. So we'll see how they get on. So Miroof is out there as well. Domino in that fetching black and pink Ligier. Oh, careful, don't cross the lines. Keep it legal. Storm in the very... I say it's dangerous to weave at that kind of speed, but I mean the track is bone dry. But like I've mentioned before, it is not going to stay that way for the whole race. What we don't know is when the rain is going to strike. Go on, Wald. Currently on the Hanardier, chasing down somebody. Is that Storm he's chasing? No, it's Storm's teammate, whoever that may be. I'm afraid I don't know off the top of my head. Doc in the black and pink Ligier as well. It's teammate to Domino. He's just come through the second of the chicanes on the Hanardier on his way down to the Malzahn. Murphy in the black Ligier. I had to be sure when the camera changed to know which Ligier he was in. Oh, we've got a new GTE pole sitter. I'll just report that before we continue with our GTEs. It's Shad with a 3:54. Wow, what a stunning time then. Villalobos 2. Gaetan in 3. You can see Andrex has several GTEs still on the field, but they're quite away. If I turn the map on, you can see where they are in relation to the to the LMPs. The LMPs are just coming up to the Porsche curves now. The GTEs have time to complete their lap. Oh, Andre's going to be terribly held up by that silver Corvette just coming through the 4 chicanes. He's going to cross the line. Does Andrex improve? Answer is he does in time, but not in position. And he remains in 4th with Daru. He just crossed the line. Oops, keep it legal. Does he improve? Up to 2nd in the M6, but that's still 2 seconds away from Shad. What a stunning time from him. So now all the GTEs, I believe, are back in the pits. So that is going to be Talon, Deheidi in the... oh, goodness me, we actually have quite a few. Morvik and Slabak and Nosy Guy as well. So that's quite a few of the GTEs, 5 of them, no less, stuck in that timing bug. That's going to be unfortunate, but we will do our best with them. So that's Storm moving very slowly there. Murphy, as we saw. Popsu, there he is in the black and green Ligier. That'll be the one that we saw being chased down along the Malzahn. There is James, also in the black Ligier, just starting his time lap, along with finally Nick Meadow in the green Ligier. One of these guys are in the GT3 League that has started this week. Who myself and FizzyFan91 commentated on Wednesday, which was quite fun. I see someone in the chat is asking what the timing bug is. If someone joins the session late, unfortunately the bug is they will always stay stuck on lap 1 according to the timings, and I do not know what position they are in because the game refuses to tell me. So anybody stuck in that timing bug means I don't know what position they're in. We'll still try and cover them as best we can to cover their antics and what have you, but it just means I don't know where they are position-wise, and it does cock up the positions for everybody else, because if someone stuck in the timing bug is leading, the game will still report somebody else as being in the lead. But you will understand what I mean as we progress. So then, it's difficult to know which one of the LMPs is actually towards the front. Oh, and this is getting very, very crossed up with someone. There's no good being that close to someone. At least he's going to try and get a bit of a slipstream. That's the view from Endless's perspective. I'm not certain who that is directly ahead of him. So we will see how that transpires. He's going to top out fairly quickly along the Hanardier. Whoever that is not in a hurry to let Endless through. But they come into the first chicane now. Now back onto the Hanardier. Oh, goodness me. Imagine Endless will feel a little bit aggrieved by that, because whoever that is could potentially be holding him up on a qualifying lap, and that is not allowed. You cannot hold someone up on their qualifying lap. It becomes slightly more awkward if you are on a qualifying lap as well. You're not obliged to get out of the way, but you are obliged not to hold someone else up. Endless finally gets past. into the second chicane and returns to the King-Kodiak. Grabbing myself a drink there with me, as I am certainly going to need some some good old liquid refreshment. So with a few late joiners to this session, we have got 29 cars waiting to get underway, 18 GTEs and 11 LMP2s. More of an even spread last time around. Sadly, we've got quite a few of them stuck in the tiny boat, but like I say, we will do our best with them. Haven't got any times on the board for the NMP2s as yet. As Endless is now streaming down towards Indianapolis. And these corners are quite challenging. Whilst there aren't too many corners. Oh, it looked like Endless got very, very out of shape actually coming into that slight right-hand kink before Indianapolis, but is still pressing. Oh, that's a very weird lag. Or you have an amazing ability to drive sideways. We will assume it is the former. Aha, we have a LMP2 time on the board. It's Popsu with 1:33.6. Of course, the timings now will completely change because they are times to leader. Nothing we can do about that. And there's our second one. It is Miruf, 3:40, and James then jumps up to just under a second behind Popsu. Both James and Popsu are in the GT3 League, so they cross swords on multiple games. There's another one, 3:36.6 by Murphy. Black Ligier. If they've started a time lap, they are allowed to complete it. And that's interesting, Maroof actually jumps straight back to the pits. He will not have time, however, to come out, do his outlap, and start a time lap. So he will be, that's quite a long way off the current top time, 33.6 by Pop. So he's 6.3 seconds off that top time. So he will almost certainly be starting last in the LMP field. Nick Meadows got a time in there, 3:35.7. Oh, steady, steady, steady. Qualifying doesn't make a huge amount of difference in the grand scheme of things in the endurance race. You can be all well and good on a single lap. It's how you fare over the 2 hours we have here at Le Mans that really counts, especially when you've got rain in the mixture. And like I said before, we know we've got rain forecast, we just don't know when. So it's all going to be down to timing. How, if someone gets caught out, the rain starts getting heavy just after they start come across the pit lane, for instance. Goodness me, try that again. Oh, Nick Mino getting very, very squirrely on that first chicane. Goodness me, managed to keep it out of the wall fairly well. So if they've... oh, we have a new pole time, 3:30.9. Wow, Storm! What a stunning time from you. Fair play to you. As Domino's got himself on the board, 3:46.6, but he is continuing. That is Doc, his teammate, both the black and pink LMPs. Fairly easy to spot. Where's Doc? He must be down here somewhere. There he is. So I hope Doc's not stuck on the timing bike. He was there at the beginning, so I'd be a bit surprised. But if he's had to leave and come back again, then unfortunately we won't know what time their set. Qualifying has now officially ended, so anyone that is not on a time lap will not be able to start one. Anyone that's currently on one will be allowed to finish. What a time from Storm, goodness me. But it's all going to be coming down to how long he can keep that pace up for, how long any of them can keep a strong pace up for. That's really what it's going to boil down to. So Storm then with the current pole time of 3:30.9. So those stuck in the tiny bug could be in between the positions, but we will not know until the start of the race. Where is Endless? Oh dear! He's actually got a bent rear wing as well, looking at that camera. Ah, of course, he's lagging around like crazy, so he probably hasn't actually hit something, it's just the game thinks he has. Oh, like so. That's not the ideal way of taking the... It's quite amusing to see sometimes, but it is quite terrifying to drive alongside someone that is lagging like that. So Endless unfortunately having some connection problems. We don't know where Tautana is either. Along with now Cornwald, almost certainly would have set a lap. He is back in the pits. There's Domino and Doc. Domino's actually let Doc through. Domino is... And oh dear, Domino is put it back in the pits. He is going to be starting towards the back. Look at that, 346. I thought that Maroof was going to be starting at last of the LMP field. Looks like it might be Domino with that 346.6. Hey, he's had a disastrous run. Storm and Nick Meadow still out there. There is Nick Meadow. He's coming through the last curves, the last chicanes. The 4 chicanes they're referred to. Here he comes. Does he improve? 335.7. Currently in 4th. This is another bug that's been introduced, unfortunately. Anyone that has completed their time jumps to the bottom and has 0 as their time. So another unfortunate annoyance that I've got. I now don't know where anybody is that has crossed the line after qualifying has finished. If they retire back to the pit, I can see them in the list. If they cross the line, they magically vanish. So sadly, it's another thing I have to deal with. Let's see if Storm was able to improve. It'd be quite scary if he did. And the answer is we don't know, because of course his time disappears. Towner still on track. He's going very slowly. He's returned to the pit. And Doc is still going. Where is he? He's at the beginning of the Porsche curve, so he will be able to complete the lap from there. He's got just over 2 minutes to get himself to the end of the lap. So he will continue to press on. Let's see how he does then. He's come through the Corvette curves, which is the second part of that sort of twisty section there. He's now coming up to the Ford curves. The 4 chicanes, I beg your pardon, which is these chicane section here. This is going to be really interesting to see how these cars handle this in the wet. Across the line, of course, we have no idea what time Doc's going to set because he will stick on 0 and voila. So Doc was the last one to cross the line and he has returned to the pits. So we will, as soon as we get the confirmation, although the race feed at the bottom tells me that Storm, still with that 330.5, is the fastest lap. This race feed box has proven rather unreliable, so I don't pay much attention to it, if I am entirely honest. Nothing I can do to speed the session up. I have to wait for the timer to run out. It's only another 60 seconds to go. But the GTEs, you can see the top 12 of them at least, the remaining 5 stuck in the bug, unfortunately. So let's run through those then. Shad taking the top spot for the GTEs with Darwood 2, Villalobos 3, Gaetan in 4th. Andrex was pushed down to 5 in the end. Iceberg in 6th, Warm Tire 7, Kofi in 8, Oblator 9, Clank 10, Dangerous Janetta 11, MTZ 12, and the unknowns, shall we say, are Rigor in the Ford, Talin, also Ford. A lot of Fords and Corvettes in this league. DeHeidi in the Corvette, Morvik, I believe he's in the Ford, and Slavak is Ferrari, I believe. And who else? It is Nosy Guy, who's listed about 5 times at the bottom there. He is also going to be an unknown entity. And that is qualifying officially done. So it is then. We have 8 times for the LMPs. Doc was actually classed as 7th with that 140.8. We did see him cross the line, and we saw Domino with a 346, so a pretty disastrous end. Storm hanging on to the pole spot for the LMPs with a 330.5, and Shad, as we previously mentioned, top of the GTE fields. And there you go, you can see the ones caught in the timing bug. Unfortunately, there are 8 of them, 3 LMP2s, and as previously mentioned, it is 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, I beg your pardon, GTEs, that we will have to guess where they are. Right. Just waiting for the session to tick on, and then we'll properly see where people have qualified, because of course the grid will form properly. The drivers will know where each other are. For the drivers, the game appears no different. It is only for us spectator side. It's fine. It's not like I need to know where anybody is or what lap they're on. Goodness me, looking at the sector times for Storm, even over Pop Suit. Goodness me, half a second up in... He's nearly a second up in Sector 3 alone. And that's over Popsu. Popsu is an incredibly fast driver. And Popsu's in second. Oh, what a stunning effort from Storm. Right, down to the grid. Good and proper then. So what's going to happen here is a 2-minute time frame here. for people to make any last-minute setup changes that they wanted. As he was hiding this pole on the GTE side in the Corvette. And you see Shad 2, Dawu 3. So now everybody is in the correct position, but sadly they will not stay there. And that's interesting. Tallinn, Rigel, Morvik, Slavek, and Nosy Guy are actually 25th and down. I wonder if they intentionally didn't set a lap. It could be that I've accused them of being in the timing bug, where they actually may not be, but I'm pretty certain they are. Anyway, so for those unfamiliar with the setup of this league, it is a 2-hour race, as previously mentioned. What's going to happen is once this 2-minute time frame has elapsed, so any last-minute setup changes can be applied, the lights will go out and no one's going to move. The field will be led off by Storm in the LMP field, and they will go fairly quickly. Obviously, it's quite a big lap here at Le Mans. There we go. So everybody is confirmed as ready. We'll now head down to the field. So we will have a formation lap, of which they will then form up the proper 2x2 lines when they get back to the Corvette curves. When those are the lights at which everybody's going to ignore. There's always that nervous moment to see if anybody's actually forgotten to do it, but everybody looks like they're behaving themselves. Storm is now underway. So, like I mentioned, he's going to lead the field off to do the parade lap. They will form up around about the Corvette curves. They'll reform the 2x2 line and reduce their speed to 50 miles an hour, 80 kilometers an hour. And then until they get to the start-finish line, and then Storm, when he feels like it, he can floor it to signify the beginning of the race, good and proper. Now the 2-hour count does start now. There's no way of altering that because you can't put small increments in the timer. It only goes up by, I think at that stage, it only goes up by about 30 minutes each increment. And now you see those that are actually stuck at the timing bug fall right to the bottom. So Endless is one of them, sadly. Tautauner seems to be another. Tautauner's actually third. Endless is 6th, I think, looking at that. So those two are in the bug, along with the Heidi in the Corvette. Tallinn, he's definitely caught in it because he's listed as 25th. And you can see there are several cars behind him. Ruggle, unfortunately, is another one. He's going to be stuck at the bottom of the timing board. There's only 3 of the GTEs, not 8 as I previously thought. So it looks like Nosy Guy, Slavek and Morvik didn't set a lap. Well, there's less people we have to kind of guess where they are at least. Now onto the Hamadier they come. If we jump back up to Popsuit in second position. The front 4 Ligiers all sporting black and green. It was actually James that won the LMP2 race last time out. Storm was leading for the vast majority of it, and that was over at Algarve, but unfortunately a late disconnect from Storm actually gifted James the win, with Popsy 2 and Doc managed to storm through the field and take 3rd position after qualifying in 8th, I believe it was. And there you can actually see on the map, you see the blue dots, which in game terms signifies they're a lap down, which is a good trick considering they're on the first lap. But that tells you how many we have got stuck in the timing bug. We can see that for ourselves. It is the bottom 5 anyway. So that's your top 3 for the LMP side. So James currently in, I think he's actually in 5th. The game says he's in 4th, but he's actually 5th because he's got Endless ahead of him. You can see there's 4 cars ahead of him. So James currently leads with Popsu, who is in 2nd, and 2nd in the championship as well. And Doc, where is he? He is there. He is listed in 7th, but he's probably 8th there. You can actually see him. He's the lead of those pink and black Ligiers, weaving through the field, trying to keep their tyres hot. It's quite a big challenge. You can see the clouds are already quite grey. So they've got a lot of heat to get into their tyres, and they've got to hang on to that heat for quite a long time before they even begin racing. GTE side to Heidi that stormed through to a very commanding win in his Corvette, and he leads the Corvette, at least the GTE field. Now the GTEs will start their race about 30 seconds, give or take, behind the LMPs. Just gives me a chance to try and cover both starts. MTZ was second in, or is second, sorry, in the championship. So a decent start for him in this league with Dawu. Where's Dawu? He is, there he is. He's of course listed second in the field, but he's got Heidi ahead of him, so he's third in that M6. That's your top three of the GTEs. Let's jump back up to the LMPs. They are just coming through. That is that's Indianapolis and AORs. They're now coming through. In through the AORs they come now. The field are still fairly close together. They don't need to spread out just yet. So if we go to Heidi, for instance, you can see the LMP field. Now you can actually see he's backing off. He's now allowing the LMP field to basically get that gap. He doesn't need to do it quite yet, but he doesn't have too much longer to do it because they're going to be hitting the formation point fairly soon. Actually, it looks like they're forming it a little earlier than I was expecting. It looks like they're forming it at the beginning of the Porsche cars. I thought they were going to do it at the Corvette cars, but they're forming the 2x2 line already. Oops! Storm taking the... Oh, I thought he was going to take the racing line and take his teammate with him, but not quite. They're still actually carrying quite a bit of speed, which is quite hard to do when you're trying to drive in formation. You're going through these curves. So surprisingly difficult to do, but at least they're doing this section in the dry. So they don't have to try and compensate for the wet weather just yet. So Storm should now be slowing down. Now you can see on the map the gap between the LMP field and the GTE field has properly formed. They try and aim for about 30 seconds, but it's very hard to maintain, to be fair. It's actually about 15-ish at the moment, but it should still be big enough. Now, oh, there's a big gap, actually. Who is that? The back of the LMP field. Is that Cornwall? It is, I think. No, it's not Cornwall, I beg your pardon. So I don't know who that is that's right at the back of the LMPs. Oh, that's a little bit too close. Storm can now floor it whenever he likes. Oh, that was James, I think, that was getting a little bit... No, it wasn't James, I beg your pardon. That will therefore be Endless. Oh no, it's Endless right at the back of the LMPs. I wonder what he's doing there. He opted to start from back there. You saw that someone in the LMP field, I couldn't identify who it was getting very, very antsy. Storm now trying to make a break for it. Popsy has got James for company. And there you see James in that distinctive black Ligier has got Nick Mido on his tail for company. Not spreading out too much at the moment, as you would expect. Let's jump down to our GTE brethren. They should start getting going very, very soon. And there you go. You seem to hide. He's just floored it. Oh, Shad was caught napping there. You've got, that's Villalobos in the Corvette. What a great start on the inside for that yellow Corvette. Jumps two. Can he hold on to it? He's got the M6 and the Ferrari, but is he going to be able to hang on to it as they come into the S's? Ooh, a little bit of contact there, but still going. It's very, very easy to kind of get too antsy on the start, as James has just flown past Popsy on the Hanardier. We jump back up to our LMP brethren. Storm. Oops! That's a bollard gone by Storm there, I think. Oh no, that probably is Endless. Oh no, it's Tautauner! I beg your pardon, I've finally identified who that Ligier is. Of course, Endless is at the back, and James already has himself a penalty. That's good going this early on. He's got himself a second penalty, which is neither going to be hit or there. But James already trying to put the pressure on. It's very easy to kind of get into a racing mode too early on. And so still quite a bit of side-by-side coming into the first chicane for the LMPs. And they should start sorting themselves out fairly soon. Jumping back up to our GTE brethren. That was Shad that just flew past. Is that Gaetan? Yes, it is. To Heidi then, there he is in that lead Corvette, storming away. Daru has not had a good start in that M6. Where's Andrex gone? Oh, Andrex is only a couple of cars down, so I thought he had a pretty bad start. You can look at the side-by-sides going on with the GTEs. Exactly as you would expect this early on. Jumping back up to our LMPs. Again, apologies for kind of hopping quite a bit to and from, because this is the time when they're going to be out there closest. Look at Storm, he's already built up what must be, yes, it's about 3 seconds or so between himself and That is Tautowner that is in second in class at the moment, although of course the game is telling me it's Popsu. And that's, whoops, James running a little bit wide on the Indianapolis there. He's just lost a position to Nick Meadow actually, so Nick Meadow is at a great start for now up to 4th overall. Doc, not too bad, he's had a decent start as well. Started towards the back of the LMP field, he's up to 6th overall. Of course we're having to account for those stuck in timing bug with Endless. Actually, that's surprising. Endless was very strong last week for quite a decent period of time, but he's opted to start from the back of the LMP field, and he's still there, unfortunately. So, not a great start for him. Doc has got that's Murphy and the other black BGA all over his rear wing. But again, they just need to settle into their rhythm and basically let those around them figure it out for themselves. Sounds like a bit of an obvious statement, but those that concentrate too early on trying to race and push and what have you are more likely to make a mistake, but also quite likely to take someone with them. Let's jump back down to our GTEs then. There we see Shad chasing Villalobos. There is De Heidi in the lead Corvette with his teammates. He had that belting start off the line. Shad in 3rd position overall. There is Gitana. I keep saying his name differently every time I read it. It's Gutan, or Gutan, I think I said it originally. Again, apologies if I'm getting this pronounced incorrectly. Warren Tyre in the Ford he leads a 3-car train himself with Dawu in there and Calfee in the Ford. There's Andrex in the 2nd M6, looking decidedly less bent and misshapen this time around. MTZ in the silver Corvette with Oblator in the black Ford, pulling along a yellow Corvette of Clank. They come back into the Ford chicanes once again. There we see Morvik. Glad to see he's not in the timing bird this time. Oh dear, someone's missing a headlight. Is that Morvik? No, it's not Morvik that's missing a headlight. There we see Slavek in the yellow Ford. Nosy guy in the Ferrari, but is there someone ahead of him? Is that Talon? No, Talon's behind him. Rigel? No. Oh, dangerous Ginetta's in the pits already. Oh dear, disaster for DG. You can see that he's actually kind of driving sideways weirdly, so he's had a hell of an accident some way. He's got a lot of damage on that Ford. Oh dear, James, what's happened to you? Oh no, he had that penalty before, that's true, beg your pardon. James still chasing Nick Meadow. Is that rain coming down already? Yes, the rain has started. Wow, that came much earlier than I was expecting it to. You can actually see the rain just beginning. Oh, that's going to hurt DG as well, because he won't be going onto the wet tyres from there. Surprised to see the fuel nozzle in there. He must have underfueled the car somewhat. Back out to the front then, Storm is leading the way by 7 seconds over Popsu. You can actually see on the map the gap he has for himself. That's looking back at Tautowner. There's Tautowner leading a little bit. Now that 7-second gap is between Storm and Popsu, not Storm and Tautowner. It's probably 5 seconds, give or take, between Tautowner and Storm. So he's still storming off. Quite an unintentional pun. There we see Popsu, who's broken away now from Nick Meadow behind. 1.5 seconds separates 3rd and 4th. But Nick Meadow cannot shake that black BGA of James. That'll probably hurt James more than it will Nick Meadow, because James is going to be stuck in that dirty air, losing the downforce when he needs it. He needs it a great deal here at Le Mans, but through the Porsche and Corvette curves, it's still quite high speed. However, they are losing. They're going to start losing grip because of the weather, and I think we're starting to see a few areas of slippery track as well. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if we start seeing people sliding off the road a little bit. Doc still has company. There he is. He's chasing Murphy down the road. I think Doc's actually lost that position. Oh goodness me, Murphy's really out of position. He got exactly as I was just saying. We're going to start seeing people sliding off the road. Doc was in that 6th position previously, and previously lost it to Murphy, and now Doc has retained the position. Anyone else coming in the pits? I think it's probably too early at the moment. The rain is that light, but they know the rain is going to be there, so it is definitely going to be playing on their minds. Gornwald rather on his own there. Along with Maroof, he's right at the back of the LMP field. Where is Tautauner? There he is, around about third, I think. Yellow flags along the way. Right where the GTEs are. So we'll figure out who that is. Oh, goodness me, a big old train of cars here. That's Andrex in the M6 that leads this train. On board with Morvik. That is Oblator in the Black Ford. Trying to gain with the M6. Morvik's going to be going side by side. They are heading towards the Porsche curves. This could go quite horribly wrong for Morvik, and he decides to back out of that one. Gets back in line. I confess I am not a great fan of the noise of the Ford, but a pretty popular GTE car. Quite a few of them in this particular league. I'm stumbling over my words, something awful. So again, I'm keeping an eye on whether anyone's coming into the pits, whether anyone's going to go for an early pit stop. I shouldn't think so because the rain isn't that heavy. Oh, no sooner do I say that Gutan comes in. Now he's listed as third in class. We know Dahaidi's ahead of them, unless I'm presuming Dahaidi's still going. Dahaidi is indeed still going, so he hasn't come in. It's going to be difficult to tell whether he's going on to wet tyres. I'm trying to see it. Can't see any grooves on them, so it's impossible for me to know whether they're going on to wet tyres or not. Here's a battle as well. That's Dawu in the sister M6. He has the two Fords of Warm Tyre and Calfee directly ahead of him, and MTZ behind. So that's quite a battle that's forming there. Oh goodness me, Dawu was quite wide coming into the S's. Now coming through Tetra Rouge. And that has put MTZ right on his case, but you're going to carry that much speed onto a straight as long as the Hanadier. And there you go, flown past the M6. Side by side then with MTZ holding the inside line heading towards the chicane. Does Dawu have the straight line over the Corvette? He does. But of course the Corvette has the inside line, and with the track getting ever more slippery, it's going to be interesting to see how they manage that. Nosy guy's in as well in the Ferrari. Now, where is Gaetan? Oh no! Is that an LMP without a rear wing? Oh, Domino! Oh, goodness me! I just saw his name towards the bottom of the field, and he has had a terrible, terrible incident. Again, whether he got caught up by somebody else sliding off the track or whether he had an unforced incident, we don't know. You can see the rain is getting heavier. Oh, that is... He's going to be in the pits a very, very long time, unfortunately. There's Dangerous Janetta. We saw him come through the pits quite early on. He's got... It's difficult to tell who that is directly behind him. Was that Tautauner coming in? It is indeed. So we are seeing people coming in. Not even... well, just over 15 minutes gone. But of course, people getting rid of those slick tyres. You can hear the rain now. And that is... Nosy Guy's still in the pit. Oh! That's Clank! Oh dear, I wonder if Clank was involved with that incident that Domino seems to have gone through. And Clank is he waiting for the Ferrari to move? I think he is. I mean, well, that's the only reason I can think of. He sat like that. That is disaster then for the Corvette. As Tautauner is now coming out of the pits. See the side of his tyres. There's got to be wet tyres now that he's coming onto. Doesn't really say, unfortunately. And Maroof is in the pits as well, so we can assume then that these guys are coming onto the wet tyres. There's Domino in for pretty hefty repairs. Nosy Guy's still there. Nosy Guy must have had a problem because there's no obvious damage on that Ferrari, and Clank is just sat there. Okay, that I didn't expect. I think it's fair to say Clank is retired. Nosy Guy finally gets underway. I wonder whether Clank has actually been... because if you sit still too long, you get given a retiring due to no progress or lack of progress box. I wonder if he got stuck with that, because it looked like he was just waiting for the pit box to be released by Nosy Guy. But there was nothing Nosy Guy could do. He can't release himself. He has to be released when the game is ready to let him go. Let's have a look at this big old chain of cars we've got here. So who's this? It's Worn Tyre and Morvik in the lead of these Fords. So Worn Tyre in the blue and white. Well, they're all blue, white and red of various descriptions. In comes Worn Tyre then, and along with that Oblator in the black Ford coming in as well. Oh goodness me, you can see people really struggling to slow the cars down. Villalobos is in the Corvette along with Shad as well in the Ferrari. Calfee, I'm trying to click on him, he's in the yellow Ford. Pit stops going on all over the place. Shad, as previously mentioned, Worn Tyre is in because as people overtake them they shuffle around. Oblator, wow, that was quick. It was a very quick stop then for the black Ford. That's going to help him for now, but whether he's going to be able to hang on to that is going to be the golden question. MTZ is in as well in the silver Corvette. James is still with Nick Meadow, that is directly ahead of him. So with the way these guys are sticking to the road, they're either brilliant at yeah, you can actually see it's the yellow Mars dry tyres still on James's car. He hasn't come in. He's doing a brilliant job of keeping that car on the road. Tarlin is in the Ferrari. No idea what position he was in before he came in. Calfee is on his way then in the yellow Ford with, I think that's MTZ directly ahead of him. Yes, it is. Villalobos has company. Who's he got? That's Oblator ahead. Is that Doc or Domino behind him? It is Domino. So Domino has been through the pits for very extensive repairs. He's got dry tyres still in this car. I'd be surprised. But we will see. Calfee's got himself a penalty on the board as well. So let's look at what that is. 10 seconds on the board for Calfee. As Domino just weaves his way in between the Corvette and the Ford. Along the first stretch of the Hanardier, a Storm race leader comes in his Ligier. Does Popsu do the same? Yes, he does. And he's taking Nick Meadow with him. Blimey, we have actually lost 3 cars already from this race. We haven't spotted all of them retire. But as we saw from the damage of some cars, there have been some pretty extensive damage going on. We've only got 1 LMP stuck in the timing bug now, and that is Tao Towner. We've got 3 GTEs in that position as well. As he comes in, it's another stream of cars leaving the road. Doc is one of them. His car looks fairly clean. You can actually see the spray coming off his car now. So definitely time to be getting rid of the slicks if they are still on them. Colmold along with Murray in the pits as well. And as previously mentioned, Tao Towner is coming in. Smoky Puppy, you've asked where Heidi is. Let's have a look. That's Domino, that is on his tail. As far as position-wise where he is, we're not 100% certain, but he, oops, has gone very deep. Dawu, right, so Dawu is coming through Indianapolis, and Heidi is behind that position. So Heidi has been in. He's got the silver flash on his tyres, so that's the wet tyres, I think, on his car. So leading the way in the GT field is actually the M6 of Dawu. Let's see what colour his tyres are. That is, he's on the wet tyres, so that's the silver flash on his car. Morvik in second, Andrex in third as well. So that's surprising if Heidi has left it too long to switch onto his tyre, switch onto the wet tyres, if I can get the words out. Dawu didn't pit, so how on earth is Dawu keeping his car on the... That's someone that's not... that's Morvik, not keeping his car on the road very well. There's Nosy Guy's in the pit again! You can see his last lap was a 7-minute lap. So unless he's having a tyre problem of some description, not a good day in the office for Nosy Guy. Who, fun fact, when I did my very first ever league racing experience last year in the BMW League, Nosy Guy was my teammate. Morvik now comes in, that'll be why he was struggling to keep it on the road. He hadn't got rid of those slick tyres. That's Andrex, you can see, weaving his way through the Ford chicanes. Now, I'm looking at his tyres, trying to ascertain whether they're the wets or not, and I'm not entirely certain. Nosy Guy's coming out again, so it's a short stop then for the Ferrari, but he is going to be quite a few laps down. I don't think anybody started on the wets there, Puppy. I'm not 100% certain on that. But unfortunately, I've got nowhere knowing. The only way I can differentiate between them is the flash on the side. But I think the hard tyres and the wet tyres are very similar colouring. So the only ones that are really obvious, I believe, are the soft ones, was the yellow ones. So that's... Oh, Slavak is in. I thought he'd already been in that yellow Ford. Oblator. And again, I thought he'd been in the black Ford as well. Rigor is in. We haven't spotted him in the pits yet. So in he comes to get rid of the soft tyres. Actually looked like for a second that the pit group was ready to put tyres on the back wheels, and Rigor's like, nope, I've had enough, I'm off. That's Slavak then. It's just... Oh, thought he was going to go then, but he seems to have stopped. And there's Oblator behind. Oblator, okay, he's able to phase through not only Slavak's pit crew, but Slavak's car as well. They've gotten away. James is close to someone. That's again Nick Meadow he's fighting with, but just behind him is Popsu. Actually, let's ride on board with James. This is what it's going to look like. Actually, let's do this properly. Let's go with the cockpit cam. There you go. That's what it looks like from James's perspective. Quite a nice open cockpit in the Ligier. That is the Porsche curves they're now coming into. Oh, that car did not want to grip at all. James looked like he was having a horrible understeer as he came into the Porsche curves, now coming through the Corvette curves. And that is one of the Fords, I think. Is that Oblator, perhaps? No, can't be, because Oblator's not long left the pits. One of the black Fords. You saw the amount of time James lost through that section. Popsu is really starting to reel him in, and that's why. Look at the yellow flash still on James's car, and he's not coming in. How on earth are you keeping that thing on the black? Look at the rain, look at the spray. How on earth? That can't be right. He can't still be on the slick tyres, but he is losing time on Nick Meadow. So could well be. As Popsu now is starting to reel James in. But Storm back in the lead of the race by 15 seconds over Nick Meadow. Where's Tao Towner? Oh dear! Tao Towner has dropped it on the entrance on the Porsche curves, but there was somebody with him. Can't see who that is. Can't see through the spray, unfortunately. Oh, that's Murphy! Yeah, Murphy's in trouble then, so Murphy and Tao Towner have had a bit of an argument. Murphy's very, very slow, but that will probably be why. It looks like he is on those slick tyres. With how slow he's going, surely Murphy's got to come in. And indeed he does, but probably very, very much too late. And that is Tao Towner coming in as well. Giannetti is in again in the black Ford. Probably the black Ford we spotted earlier on. There it goes. I believe that is Maroof. It is indeed. And the only orange Giannetti LMP2 out there. Murphy coming into the pits along with Tao Towner as previously mentioned. Morvik has got some company. Who's he got? That's Warm Tyre ahead of him. The two red, white and blue. One is red, white and blue. One is blue and white. Warm Tyres being one ahead at this point in time of these two. Popsu and James are still pretty close together. So this is for third. So the LMP categorizations are correct, as I would believe Tao Towner is at the back of the LMP2s now, along with Murphy. So who's that they're catching up to? So this is the second chicane of the Hanardier, now coming back onto the straight. Can't tell who that is. Is that Nick Meadow that's ahead? It is. That's second, third and fourth in very short succession. Nick Meadow has made a mistake somewhere. Storm has just got insane pace over everybody else, as we saw last week up until this disconnection. So it came to nothing last week, but it could well come good for him this time. Let's stay on board with Popsu. As you can see from the cockpit view, he doesn't have a great view. That is, of course, assuming he's running from inside the car. A number of the drivers do, so they'll have the luxury of VR as well. I have tried PCARS in VR. Sorry, I tried PCARS 1 in VR. I haven't tried the second one. I don't own VR. I have neither the money nor the space for it. I'd be a liar if I said I didn't want it though. Oh, and look at that. That's Nick Meadow that's fallen off the road. Surely he's going to lose those two positions. This could get very, very ugly. They're not going to go 3 wide into 1R. Surely. Popsu then trying to do an outside manoeuvre, and yeah, firm but fair defence there by James, but that has put Nick Meadow right in their clutches. Is Nick Meadow struggling with grip out there? It is very, very wet, as we can see. James now having a look. See the puddles are really beginning to form, and those puddles really upset the balance of the car. You hit a particularly big puddle, it will just pull you towards the inside of the track, but wow. James a little cautious coming into the Porsche curve, maybe due to the amount of spray he can see. And that actually lost him all that time on Nick Meadow, put him straight back in Popsu's clutches again. I didn't honestly expect to be seeing battling quite like this. The rain isn't going to stay this heavy for the entire race. It is going to change, but again, we don't know when. And none of these three are in the pits yet. Where's Storm? Okay, so Storm's got a couple of cars ahead of him. He is just coming through he's coming down towards Tetra Rouge, just as these guys are coming over the start-finish line. So that kind of gives you a visual indication. If you look on the map where they are, so the top left of the map essentially, the white dot that's ahead of them is Storm. So now coming through the Dunlop chicane heading towards the S's. Now James looks like he's got that yellow flash on his tyres, which would, as I initially thought they were soft tyres, but just they cannot be. Not with this one. They are now heading towards Tetra Rouge, onto the 98. So again, now these drivers face a bit of a conundrum. Do they try and push for the extra position, which could pay off for them in the long run but is risky, or do they remain where they are? Problem is, when you've got this much spray, it's very easy just to make a mistake because you can't see anything. Again, looking on board Popsu, you see Nick made just a tiny bit of a gap between himself and James. But Popsu again needs to know where the braking zone is. If you've got a face full of spray, it's very easy to miss your braking zone and slam into the car in front of you. Not what he's done. James wasn't too great through that chicane, and the tail just stepped out on that lead here, but Popsu just couldn't quite squeeze through on the inside. Well defended. Well, I say well defended by James. I think it was a lack of offence by Popsu then. Well, that camera took a long time to change. Now Popsu jumps out. He's had a bit of slipstream and even more spray from James, but he's going to be on the outside towards his next chicane. Is he going to be able to get the move done? He's just nosed ahead. Still side by side there. The advantage now becomes Popsu's, and through Popsu goes into third position. Nick Meadows managed to get over 1.5 seconds ahead. That's why the exclamation mark has disappeared, as you can see in the top left corner of the screen. I highly doubt though that James is going to let that go somewhat. But Nick Meadow will be quite happy that they're battling for that last podium spot. Long, long way to go though. There's another hour and a half to go. Oh no! James just completely lost it under braking. And he's going to have to reverse. Oh, he stalled it! Oh, goodness me. It goes from bad to worse for James. How that turned around so quickly. Away he goes. Oh no, he's overcooked it! He overcooked it. Too eager to get going again. He has hit the wall. He didn't hit the wall particularly hard, so he may get away with just a very light bit of damage. Oh dear, oh dear. That's a big element of frustration there. He knows he made that mistake, and he's tried too hard to get going again. And unfortunately, he's just lost the tail and put it in the wall. But this is going to put Nick Meadow in danger, as Popsu can now just concentrate on the car ahead of him. You can see there's actually a small river forming just where Popsu's gone through. That's again part of the live track weather system. And again, you can see those puddles beginning to form. If they start getting much bigger, they will start to really affect how the cars go through them. There's an incredible amount of spray coming off the back of these cars. Let's jump down to our GTEs. Let's have a look at some of the Fords. This is Morgan and Warn Tyre still with their battle, and that is that Gaetan ahead of them? It is indeed. Whoops, beg your pardon. Didn't mean to do that. So, Gaetan is very, very wide into the S's. That's going to enable the Fords to really start to chase them down. Oh, Wartire was really wide. That actually put Morvig off slightly. He had to get out of that. He couldn't use the momentum that he had. But Morvig now getting back into the slipstream of Wartire. He's already come out of it, interestingly. Wartire has gone straight for the inside line for the next chicane, but Gaetan is also going to try and take it as well. So this is going to get very, very interesting on how these three navigate. Well, Gaetan is the one ahead, so he can take whatever line he likes. Those Fords getting very, very close. They can pretty much hand each other a message. Oh, that early braking then by Gaetan really caught Wartire out. He was very well handled that to not slam into the back of Gaetan. Morvig now trying to capitalise. He's now going to go through, and he has actually gone through. Unfortunately, the camera didn't quite pick up the pass through that first chicane. Morvig has now gone up into 6th position. Was 6th position in class. That camera stays there an awfully long time. He's now going to have a look at the Ferrari. And there, the Ferrari actually stayed on the racing line. Morvig blasted past. Oh, Wartire having a look at the inside again. There's side by side coming into the second chicane. Oh, there's a bit of lag. We're not sure whether that actually caused contact. We didn't see Morvig really deviate from his line, so I don't think that was contact. I think it was just an unfortunate lag moment there for Gaetan. He's down into 7th. Oh, I don't think he was very happy about that with a flash of the lights. Morvig is not slowing down though, as Morvig and Wartire continue their battle. And to be fair, from our perspective, it didn't look like there was much kind of deviation from Morvig's course, which would indicate an impact, as Wartire retakes that 5th position. Also keeping an eye on the top here, I can see Popsu has actually overtaken Nick Meadow. Nick Meadow now 3rd, but they've got a couple of cars around them. That's one of the Ferraris, and is that Heidi in the Corvette there? Nope, wrong Corvette. There's quite a few of them. There's James Rather trying to close back down. He's got 15 seconds to close down to Nick Meadow, but Nick Meadow has lost that 3rd. Could well be down to back markers, but we don't know. We didn't see the overtake happen. We were looking at these guys. Wartire is back behind Morvig again, so these two are not done with their battling. 2 AOR stalwarts in Wartire and Morvig. Look at the gap between themselves and Gaetan. That's not MTZ that's directly behind. That was one of the LMPs that was coming up behind the Ferrari then. Again, we don't... Is that Tau Towner? No. Don't know which one that is, unfortunately. Side by side again, these two Fords. They're not really doing themselves a great deal of favours. What they're doing is slowing each other up. Races will be races though, as Morgan's going to have a lovely inside line. It's quite a long corner leading into the Porsche curves. Still side by side, and that's Morvig who's wandered off the road. Oh no, that's gone a little bit wrong for Morvig. They've got one of the LMPs coming up behind them. We don't know. Is that Storm? It is. That's actually the race leader. Now, just to reiterate that the LMPs do not have the right to basically expect the GTEs to get out of the way. The GTEs do not have to yield to the LMPs. It's up to the LMPs to figure their own way past without, upsetting the GTEs. Essentially, they can't just barge their way through. But equally, they can't expect the GTEs to jump out of the way. Nick Meadow and Popsy are still fairly close together. But all eyes currently on this battle. Morvig now sizing up Wartire yet again. So in the case of these two Fords, they did not have to get out of the way of Storm's leader. Despite the fact that Storm is the race leader, they're in a different class. And oops, that's too deep for Wartire. That's going to be an easy pass for Morvig. Side by side, but Wartire has not got the momentum to defend that. Oh, there was a bit of impact between the two. It was a little bit cheeky. There's Gaetan behind them now, starting to reel them back in again. And this is what their fighting is actually leading to. It's slowing them down. Look at the water gathering on the inside of the first of the S's there. If anybody catches that, that's really going to upset them because they're coming through that relatively quick. So the drivers have to bear in mind that that water is gathering there on the inside of that apex. Now is Wartire going to try and move on Morvig? You see in the camera where Gaetan is. It's not close enough to make any real difference to that. Now Morvig did not defend that inside line. Both of the Fords now side by side with Wartire getting very close. Ooh, that was a little bit of bullish there from Wartire, just giving Morvig a bit of a nudge. No harm, no foul. They didn't spin, and that wouldn't have caused any damage, but that's a little bit of getting the elbows out there. And still, Morvik's not gonna want to let that go, despite the fact that it is slowing them down. Gutan's a little bit of a way off these two, so it's about 2.5 seconds. We can see at the timing at the top, it's roughly 2.5 seconds. Side by side, yet again, these two. Morvik now is going to drive through a couple of... Oh, you actually saw the Morvik's Ford jink slightly to the left. That would be where he's caught the water, and that's actually pulled the car over slightly to the left. That actually lost him the momentum that allowed Wartime to get back in front of him. That's how much effect the standing water has. Looking up through the field, Popsu has actually broken 4 minutes. He's kind of getting back on storm space, but 23 seconds behind him. He's actually broken free of Nick Meader. There's a couple of seconds between those two as these Fords continue to battle. That's what we tend to find in our endurance leagues. We look to our GTE brethren. Oh no, that's gone horribly wrong for Morvik. He was a little bit too wide and just could not slow it down. Worn tyres, thank you very much. I'll have the position back, and off he goes. Now this could enable Worn Tyre to start to run. If he's had both of these Fords have been pretty evenly paced, to be fair, but we haven't really seen one get any kind of distance over the other, so we don't know whether one's got any pace over the other at the moment. It would be easy to assume that they're pretty evenly paced. If that's the case, Morvik probably will reel Worn Tyre back in again ever so slightly lap on lap, and of course same in reverse. Through Indianapolis again, 8/10 give or take through that section. Now through Arnage. Actually, you saw, is that MTZ we saw behind? Nope. Nope, not at all. It's one of the LMPs we see coming up behind Gutan. Oh, Villalobos has got some company. Villalobos is in the Corvette. That's not Andrex directly ahead of him. It's one of the Ferraris. Is it Rigor? No. Is it? Let's start to Heidi. Tallinn? It's Tallinn. No, it isn't Tallinn at all. See, this is why I hate the timing bug. And there we go, Morvik's real Worn Tyre in again. So Villalobos has got a Ferrari ahead of him. I'm not 100% sure who that is. Let's have a quick look through the list. No. Slamak? No. It's not Oblator. DG? No, he's in a Ford. Oh, it's Nosy Guy. Yes, it's Nosy Guy. Nosy Guy's not stuck in the timing bug, but of course he's quite a few laps down after his numerous pit stops. He is setting... He actually was a little bit quicker than Andrex last lap around, so he's actually on a similar lap time, but he will be under blue flag conditions. If Villalobos gets into a overtaking position on Nosy Guy must yield because they are of the same class. Doesn't apply for LMP on GTE, and if LMP's having a really bad day, it would apply the other way around as well. Of differing classes, they do not yield to blue flag conditions. The driver will get a notification, fast driver coming, and there you go, Nosy Guy's actually backed off. Oh, he hasn't backed off enough though, that's going to get very, very close. There's a lot of standing water down there, but Nosy Guy did back off to allow the Corvette through. Wouldn't have really lost Villalobos any time there, so he can now concentrate on Andrex rather, and he's pretty close to the BMW as they now come through. But Morvik and Worn Tyre are engaged in battle again. We know that's not Storm that's coming, that must be Popsin. Nope. Nick Meader? Yep, that's Nick Meader that's coming past them. Had to wait for the camera now to come around. And this is why the LMPs can choose their own line, and why the GTEs do not have to yield to them is because they've got that extra speed, but more importantly they've got the extra grip to be able to make the move stick when they absolutely need it. Morvik is reeling in Worn Tyre again. And Villalobos is already on Andrex case. There they are on the Grenadier. That's on the second part. It looks like the Corvette's going to nail the M6 before they even get into the Mulsanne corner. And indeed he does. The Corvette already got ahead before the braking zone. So Andrex is struggling a bit there. He's got damage on his car. Get a closer camera angle, we'll be able to see. Well, all the lights are still working. Can't see any obvious sign of damage on the M6. The damage isn't always clear. What position is Heidi in? He is in the timing bug, but he is more than likely leading his class. I'm not 100% sure if he is. Where is Daru? Daru is coming through Arnage. The only real way I've got of knowing is where they are on track position, but that doesn't tell me what lap they're on. And Deheidi is actually right behind him. So Deheidi might actually be second. That's assuming he's on the same lap as Daru, but unfortunately I've got no idea of knowing. Villalobos is we saw him go past Andros not too long ago. If we looked at where Deheidi is, that's not actually too far up the road. There you just saw Daru at the top of the shot. Now if we stay with this camera, we might see. No, we don't quite see it actually. So the Corvette of Deheidi is coming into the Porsche curves. Andrex now down in what says third is actually fourth. They're not actually that far apart. The top of the GTEs are separated by give or take about I would say, just looking at the timings, about 10 seconds I was going to say, 10 to 12 seconds. No, Smoking Puppy, thank you very much, has confirmed that Dabu and Deheidi are on the same lap, which means Deheidi is second. At the moment, he's not actually too far ahead of these guys. And that we see is Nosy Guy that is directly behind them. Nosy Guy is not on the same lap as these guys. That much we know, as Nosy Guy is not on the timing reg, and he is listed in 13th in class, but of course that is not correct due to the GTEs ahead of him. Now that Villalobos has managed to break away from Andrex a bit, so Corvette yet again proving an absolute monster, and that's Tallinn. Oh, Tallinn's out! Oh, we've lost the Ferrari of Tallinn. Oh, goodness me. How did he do last time? Let's check our GTE standings. Tallinn, did he retire last time as well? Oh, he might have actually been in last week's race, having a look. Oh, Storm's right in the middle of that. Well, that's Villalobos actually just gone out the shot, I think. Just jumped to where Villalobos is. Yep, that's race leader Storm that is directly behind. Oh, look who's still in battle. It's Morvik and Worn Tired. Now, this is it's listed as 5th and 6th. That is actually 6th and 7th, due to Deheidi being ahead of them. We've lost Tallinn. Tallinn's actually left the session, so we now only have 3 cars in the timing bug. Deheidi we know is in second. Where's Rygor? Out of interest. Oh, he's actually right up with this mixture as well. Now that's MTZ coming through the shot in the silver Corvette, so that's Rygor in the next Ford. Again, we're not 100% sure what map he's on, but if he is on the same lap as MTZ ahead, MTZ is listed in 7th. We know Deheidi is ahead of him, so that's actually 8th, which therefore means Rygor is in 9th. 9th in class, of course. Yet again, these Fords are still going. The LMPs are fairly spread out at the moment, so no battling to report at the moment. It looks like Morvik is going to start shaping up. More time for another move. Ooh, you saw he had to start turning left into a right-hander there. Wartire's had a fairly decent exit out of Tetra Rouge onto the start of the Hanadier. Very similar ways of dealing with this particular track. Now Morvik getting the slipstream. Wartire already in that defensive position. He's going to draw alongside. Is he going to be able to do anything about it before they get into the braking zone? He's braked early. Wartire's trying to outbrake him. Wartire does seem to be very, very good on the brakes. He's possibly using the water to slow him down, which is very, very risky because it doesn't always slow you down in a straight line. It can pull your car randomly into, say randomly, it will pull your car into a direction. You may not necessarily anticipate, and that's one of the LMPs. Is that Nick Meaden? No? Popsuit? It's not easy to tell which LMP, so it's none of the above. Morvik now having another look coming past Wartire. Wartire didn't go for the defensive inside line, so he's obviously going to try and string on the outside of the first part of this chicane to try and get the inside line. And oh, Morvik actually bailed on that one. Oh, that is going to be James coming through. Yep. It is indeed. Oh dear, that was a little bit. That didn't go well for Morvik. He got pushed onto the inside line there. As Worn Tyre tries to pick a bit of slipstream off the LMP. He's perfectly entitled to do so. As we are fast approaching the halfway stage in this endurance race. And Worn Tyre has actually managed to get himself a bit of a gap to Morvik, but not enough to stop that exclamation mark appearing. with the races now relatively spread out, you can see on the map they're around someone generally, but not necessarily racing them for position. Let's have a look through our LMPs. Where's Tao? He's the only LMP stuck in the tiny block. He is just coming through the Mulsanne now with, it's either Doc or Domino directly ahead of him. It's not Doc, so it must be Domino then. The Domino had a lot of damage early on, so we don't know what if Tao is on the same lap as Domino is. But Domino is listed as last, bar Tao, of course, in the LMP field. But by the way, the Domino's not letting him through. I would suspect they're on the same lap, and Tao are trying to get off the bottom of the LMP listing at the moment, and Domino's actually letting through. He was mostly ahead, so fair play to Domino on that one. And Tao has flown past. That is, of course, assuming they're on the same lap. Like I say, I do not know due to the timing bug. But let's have a look through our list. Storm has led the whole race so far, losing the lead only during pit stops. He currently needs, according to the list at least, 23 seconds over Popsy. Where's Tao actually on track? Tao is actually a long way ahead, track position-wise, so I would imagine he's actually at the back of the LMP field. We'll keep an eye on that. Popsy is in second position. He is 25 seconds there or thereabouts behind Storm. That is, I think that's Nosy Guy and Andrex that he is catching up to. Nosy Guy probably trying to get out of the way, but he's not picked a great position to do it. In third in class is Nick Meadow. He's also coming up to that's Tetra Rouge. He's coming through now to come onto the Hanardier, as we've just seen Popsy go through. So not a great deal of time between those two actually. It's about 7 seconds, give or take. James in the... Oops, getting a little bit deep there. Coming into the S's. James in fourth, finds himself very much in no man's land. 25 seconds, give or take, behind Nick Meadow, and about 11 seconds ahead of this man, Doc, who suddenly has no one around him. Oh no, it was Domino, sorry, that has someone around him, beg your pardon. So Doc didn't have a great qualifying session, just as he didn't last week, but to be fair, he's had a fairly decent race. Is that Morvic that's just gone through? It is indeed, that's Morvic that has just gone through the chart. So Doc is going to be paying them a visit fairly soon. Cornwald, that's MTZ in the Silver Corvette. Silver Cornwall, I nearly said that. And look how much away from the apex everybody is staying because of that big lake that is forming there. No one is chancing going through it. You could try and go through it and pull your car into the apex, but you lose too much and it's too risky. Maroof, didn't see a great deal of him. Oops, he gets a big twitch there just before he gets onto the Nardier, just before he gets to Tetra Rouge. Murphy, there he is, just coming across the start finish line. Of course, we don't entirely know what... Tao is actually behind Murphy, I think. He is indeed, so Murphy in 8th position has Tao 20 seconds or so behind. And where did Domino go? Have we lost we've lost another LMP2. We had 11 of them. Oh no, there he is. Beg your pardon. I just lost him from the list, that's all. So Domino is actually in 10th overall. Tao is just ahead of him. Let's see Domino in that shot. Nope. So Tao is in 9th with Domino in 10th, not having a great deal of luck there. Dawu leads the GTEs, but he's got a Corvette on his tail. Is that to Heidi? Yes, it is. Our pole GTE has closed that M6 in. We have got a battle then for class lead between the M6 of Daru and the Corvette, the roaring Corvette of De Heidi. Again, we don't know what lap times De Heidi is doing, but Daru didn't have a good lap actually last time around. It's again not surprising considering how much rain there is. It does look like that De Heidi could well have the pace on the M6 at the moment. One of the black and green Ligiers coming up behind them. Tao is a lap ahead of Domino. Thank you for that one, puppy. So Domino is completely out of position then. Who is that? Is that Tautowner? No. That's not Tautowner at all. Ooh. And oh, that's interesting. Daru looked like he backed out of that. Look, wrong one. Yeah, you actually saw Daru just get out of that entirely. And he may well have decided that his battle really is not with the Heidi and has just let the Corvette through instead of fighting with him and losing time. Again, he's thinking about the long game if that's the case. Villalobos in third position. He's only 2.5 seconds off the back of Daru, so he could be looking to get another step up the podium. Andrex in our GT3s, 11.5 seconds behind Villalobos, nearly 14 seconds ahead of this man, Shad, who leads the Warntire Morvig battle by about 25 seconds. These two have been locked in battle for a very long time now. And Gutan has actually lost nearly 13 seconds on that particular Ford battle, only 2.5 to this man, MTZ. Has got... Who's that coming up behind him? That is a Miroof that is coming up behind him in the Orange Ligier. Calfee, 12.5 seconds, give or take, down from MTZ. I'm just going to double check where Rigor is. Rigor's actually ahead. The Heidi, we know where he is. So Rigor's actually ahead of MTZ. Is he ahead of Gutan's actually right behind where Rigor is. So there is Rigor in the Ford with Gutan right with him. So assuming the Rigor is on the same lap, and like I say, I don't know if he is or not, then that puts Rigor in 7th position, beg your pardon, in class. Let's head back to this particular battle with Morvig and Warntire. Actually, we'll check back in with that in a little bit because they're not close enough. Oblator is next in the Black Ford, 13 seconds down from Calfee, but has not got a lot of distance between himself and this man Slavak. As the name suggests, he is the manager of the TX3 squad. Whoa, got very slidey on the exit of the Dunlop chicane. That's going to lose him time on Oblator. There's the guy. He's all having a lot of trouble. He's a long, long way back from the GT Thrill and Danger Genetta as well. He's been through the pits a few times, which is a great, great shame. Ooh, now Gutan has got MTZ for company. And so Villalobos has caught up to Daru. We now... Ow, I keep doing that, sorry, because I rest my hand on my mouse and right-click causes that problem to come up, so apologies for that. Every endurance race I've done that, I keep doing that. You'd think I'd learn. Let's stick with this battle then. This is for second in class. Of course, Heidi is down the road. We've just seen Heidi actually go out the shot. That's what it looks like from... I can't believe he hasn't got his windscreen wiper going, so it actually makes it difficult for us to see. So through the puddles they come. Villalobos a bit more confident on the brakes than Daru with the M6, but Daru getting a decent line into the Porsche curves. That Corvette is just a beast. We saw how dominant Heidi was last time, and it looks like Heidi is going to have fun running off into the distance again, and Villalobos looking to get another step up the podium as well. Look how you can really see from the driver's perspective just how much water there is on the ground. However, if you see skywards, there's some breaks forming in the clouds, so we could be seeing the end of the rain soon. If we haven't already, let's go to the external camera. No, it's still falling quite heavily. But I think the sky, or it looks like it from their perspective, you can see, ooh, as Villalobos had to really get out of it. Daru now gone to the... And Daru's done it again. He's let the Corvette through. Daru again, I think, conceding defeat. If you look at the lap times between Villalobos and Daru, there's 5 seconds difference. So you can understand why Daru does not want to lose time trying to keep the Corvette behind him if he's that much quicker. However, we could be seeing a weather change at some time. Well, I'm pretty sure we will see a weather change at some point. It may just be a lightening of the rain. which again will play into some drivers' hands. But at the moment, the rain not looking like it's going to let go. As Villalobos looks set to run off into the distance then. In second place, Gutin is trying to hang on to the back of MTZ in that Corvette, but as we've already seen, the Corvette is just mighty here in the wet. But Morvik is still with worn tyre. As they now come through the Ford chicanes, Morvik is trying everything he possibly can to get it back ahead of worn tyre and get away from him, but they are so evenly matched at the moment because that lap delta is based on the first few laps they did in the dry, so that's always going to be quite a long way off. Ooh, Maroof is in the pits. Maroof is in the pits just as we have another few exclamation marks. Janetta found. He's found Nosy Guy. So DG and Nosy Guy have got some, are keeping each other company. Gutin is trying to... He's actually within a second of the Corvette, so I think MTZ may have made a mistake. Well, actually, it was Gutin was 4 seconds slower than MTZ according to the timings. But I think MTZ may have made a mistake very shortly afterwards, because that's very clearly not 4 seconds there. As they come through, they've gone through Dunlop chicane, now through the S's. Maroof is in again. No, well, there won't be any damage on the car when he stops, as all the damage disappears. I don't think Gutin's going to be able to do anything against the Corvette at this moment in time. Unless, of course, MTZ makes a mistake. And that is Murphy in as well. So we are seeing people come in again. Are they burning the best of those wet tyres out? That looks a bit strange, driving through a pit crew that's already done their stop. I'm assuming that's Maroof underway, and it is indeed. Let's jump back up to Morvik and worn tyre in their battle. So that's on the second part of the Hanardier. They've already gone through one chicane. Now Morvik, here we go again. Oh, you saw he hit that puddle and just got very squirrely. And this time gets out of that before losing too much time. That is just how much effect the water has when you hit it at speed. And race leader Storm is in. That's Murphy still in his pit box. The race leader has come in. And the fuel hose going on. Oh, back to the Ford battle again. Morvik having a look on the inside of worn tyre, but chose not to do it. Oh, you saw how sideways worn tyre's Ford got, and just I'm not surprised with how much water there is gathering there at the Mulsanne. But look how much time that cost Morvik as well. He obviously couldn't get on the power as much as he would have needed to, and Popsu's in as well. The LMP2 is all coming in. We are over halfway in this race now, less than an hour to go. The Storm comes back out, remaining in the lead as Nick Meadow is also in from third. Where was Towner? No, he's coming down to the Mulsanne. He's nowhere near this particular battle. James is just coming through towards the Ford chicanes, so we'll see if he comes in, and he does. So the top four all coming in on the same lap. Where's Doc? There he is. Is that Hendricks ahead of him? It is indeed. Now does Doc choose to come in as well? Yep. So looks like the LMPs have got a very similar idea on strategy at this stage of the race. Where's Cornwald? He's got... I wonder if that's Oblator ahead of him. Where's Oblator? Where's Oblator? Oh, there he is. That wasn't... Well, there's me looking for him, and when I did find him, it wasn't him at all. Yeah, Cornwall's in as well. So there must be Dangerous Janetta then. Yes, it is. Why does that camera get so lost? So the top 6 of the LMPs have all been in. Maroof and Murphy have come in already. There's Towner. Who's he got next to him? One of the yellow Fords. Let's jump back up to Morvik and a Wartire still locked in their battle. I imagine Morgan's getting pretty sick of staring at their rear wing by now. And if he didn't enjoy the sound of his own engine, he's got it in stereo for having Wartire's engine right ahead of him. Oh, Wartire again. We saw him do that before. Gets too deep into the Dunlop chicane. But Morley's not really able to capitalise on it. But on they go. That is, however, going to allow MTZ, who is 13.5 seconds behind at the moment in that silver Corvette, but that could allow him to close up if they just battle on and on and on and on. Domino's catching up with someone. That's Maroof and Slavak that is around him. Unfortunately for Domino, that's actually position. He's just gained off of Slavak, but he's just come straight into the pit, so they didn't really earn him anything. It's not gone well for poor Domino, unfortunately. J-Town is still close to MTZ, surprisingly. And I mean that in no disrespectful tone. I'm just surprised with the pace difference we've seen in some of the other Corvettes. I'm surprised that Gatan has managed to hang on, but he has. He's remained within a second of the silver Corvette. He's gaining, he's in the slipstream. Is he going to be able to do anything before they get to the first chicane? No, he wisely gets out of that. And with the amount of water on the ground, I'm really not surprised. But he is right there, look. Oh, that was a bit of may have been a bit of an oversteer moment for the Corvette. Just look how much water, and Gatan's got no option. He's got to go through it. Otherwise, he would have slammed into the back of the Corvette. But that in itself will cost him time, and I would imagine MTZ is aware of that. He's just ahead at the moment, but the Ferrari's going to have the inside for the start of the chicane. Oh no, the water! That's precisely what I said about the water just pulling you into where they are, and that just pulled the Ferrari to the left, slams him into the wall. He's sticking with the Corvette at the moment, but that would have caused damage. He'll be a very lucky boy if that didn't cause damage. It'll be interesting to see if he's able to hang on to the back of MTZ now. I didn't see who that was just out that went out at the top of the shot. And certainly not Morvik as the. Oh, is that Rigor? Yeah, that's Rigor in the lone Ford. He has got that battle with MTZ and Gatan right with him. And that is Spotsu, no, Storm, no, not sure which of the LMPs that is. Nemido? Nope. You are absolutely right there, Shooter 80. DeHeidi is indeed leading the GTEs. And there he is. And Dawu, who comes in from class 3rd. There's a Villalobos in the next. Corvette really is pushing on. 4:16 in this weather. Actually quicker than that should be quicker than some of the LMPs. So the M6 in. Whether that'll be for the last time, we do not know. And Adrex is in as well, so both M6s coming in now. Unlike the likes of Formula 1, I don't think they share a pit box. No, they don't. The pit boxes are not allocated in team ways, as we saw. We did actually see somebody have to wait. One of the Corvettes was actually waiting for Nosy Guy's Ferrari to get out of the way, and he was in there such a long time that the Corvette unfortunately had to retire. Oh, Wartire's lost the position to Morvik. Oh, we've just lost somebody else. We have just lost someone. It's one of the LMPs. I bet you that's Domino that's gone. It is indeed. Domino is out. And Wartire is pushing Morvik along the road. That's Andrex just coming out ahead of them. Is that Andrex or Dawu? Oh, it's Dawu. Beg your pardon. Andrex is behind them. So Dawu actually is in 4th overall now in class. Andrex is... Oh, Gatan is in the pits. So this battle now has really gotten interesting with... I would imagine the M6 is going to run off into the distance with those fresh boots on. So now, that's a shame we didn't see that overtake from Morvik. Empty said, Andrex has come out right ahead of that Corvette. Ooh, Doc, be careful. Let's jump back up to this battle then to see how it transpires. Yeah, sadly it was Domino. Just looking through the list there that we lost. He has called it a day. Oh dear, Warntide did not have a good drive out of the Tetra Rouge. And look at that, Dabu, even with the fresh tyres on, of course, assuming he did pit for tyres. Oh my goodness me! Yeah, I thought Warntide was going in there a bit hot. And that's going to be Dabu resuming that particular position from Warntide. It was always going to get a little bit interesting, being 3 wide coming into the first chicane. And I think that was just more, he missed his braking point and then just hit Lakes basically. So he had he just locked up. And again, that's Dawu that's allowed the Ford through. But again, Dawu knows, we know Dawu's just come out of the pits. And he could well be aware that the Fords haven't pitted yet. So no point fighting them, they're going to come in of their own accord anyway. But we have a battle here. Weird graphic glitch going on there with the water at the bottom of the shot. And that's MTZ on the back of Andrex. Now again, the M6 not long out of the pits. The Corvette has not been through the pits as far as... Oh no! Is that Doc? No, there isn't. Who was that? That was for... Someone's had a big moment. Who is that? I'm not actually sure who that is. Cornwald? It's Cornwald! Oh my goodness me! Massive moment for him. Sorry, my mind went completely blank then on who was driving the red and black LMP. So that's a big moment then on the entrance of the second chicane of the Hanadier. It's unclear how much damage. The car looks okay, but he may have only just tapped the wall in that spin. Oh, Andrex couldn't slow the M6 down. Oh, but MTZ then proceeded to have a bit of a tank slapper. Now side by side then after the Mulsanne. So they head towards Indianapolis. If Andrex chooses to defend, which he may not, he may choose to go the same route as Dawu and let the Corvette go, because it doesn't look like the Corvette's going to let the M6 go. And now Cornwall is going to be... I would imagine Cornwall's surely going to have to wait. Unless he tries to muscle his way past his Andrex. Neither of them are getting out of the throttle. Now Andrex lets the Corvette go. He's probably going to let the Ligier go as well. Nope, he slots back into position. They come through Indianapolis. And now Cornwall's going to go through on the inside of Andrex. There he goes. Through on Arch. Oh, Cornwall again! Oh no, Cornwall is going from bad to worse. Maroof is closing in. There is the orange Ligier. He's obviously gained a whole bucket load of time. Cornwall underway again, heading towards the Porsche curves. But that has lost him an incredible amount of time on this lap. Is Andrex trying to keep on with the silver Corvette? No. Again, Andrex, despite the fact he's just been through the pits, he knows how strong those Corvettes are. And it could just simply let him go, so to speak. Towner is in. Not certain what position he was in from. And that damaged Ligier. Let's see where Storm is, our race leader. He is just heading down to Indianapolis. 35 seconds separates him and Popsu. Popsu is just coming into Mulsanne. That's what it looks like on track. That's what 35 seconds looks like on track, I should say. Nick Meadow, 23 seconds just under behind. Can't see who that is directly behind the LMP there. James in the black LMP halfway down the Hanadier, and Cornwall has come into the pits. That's not really a surprise. Maroof then goes through. He lost 40 seconds on that lap, did Cornwall. With the incidents he's had. And he's choosing to continue, of course. Towner is underway. That is that Slavak that's just gone through? Nope. Nope. I'm trying to think who the other yellow Ford is. No, not for the Logos. That would be be Kofi. Or Kalfi, I beg your pardon. I knew I'd get it eventually. And that's 8th position in the GTE field. Ooh, that's very close. There you go. Tao Town are now going to fly through on the inside of the Ford. And off they go on their merry way. Ooh, Andrex is closing back in. Look at the amount of time Andrex lost. But MTZ must have made a mistake somewhere because Andrex's last lap... Okay, that was his out lap to be fair, but he still would have lost some time. We've just lost somebody else, I think. Did we just lose one of the GTEs? If we did, I can't identify who. So Andrex then back within striking distance of that silver Corvette. Is he going to try a move? He's gaining. He chose not to go for the inside for the first part of the chicane. Whereas before, of course, the drivers will be thinking about the longer game. I just saw the marker come up for Warntire and Morvik again, so we'll be checking with them shortly. Whereas the guys will be thinking of the long game, of course, with the endurance racing. When you get below the halfway stage, you have to start thinking about the now as opposed to the later. Not too big a deal, of course. But you do have to start bearing in mind there's a massive lakes, and that's caught MTZ out. We saw it catch Andrex out. We've seen it catch quite a few people out actually. But I do wonder whether the rain is beginning to get lighter. So in that last camera shot, I actually thought it stopped. I do begin to wonder whether the rain is starting to ease up. Well, that's certainly not in that shot. But when we were looking at the Molzan corner there, rain actually looked very, very light, so I do wonder whether the rain is beginning to ease. But the biggest indicator is going to be the lap times coming down. So we will keep an eye on that. As the Corvette trying to get that position back from Andrex. It's the only battle we have at the moment position-wise. When the LMP's coming behind. Is that Cornwall coming behind? Nope. I thought that was a flash of red I saw in the LMP. Just trying to see that he's coming over the hill. Nope, can't see who it is. Heading down towards the Porsche curves again. And that is Shad coming in from second class along with Nosy Guy. So 2 Ferraris coming in. Nosy Guy must be pretty fed up at this pit lane by now. He's been through it so many times. So Shad in his maiden race in the Endurance League is in the pits from 3rd position. To Heidi and Villalobos leading the way in the Corvettes. It sounds like I was going to say, I bet you that's Warntime and Morvik that's just gone past them in the Fords. And that's Daru. We saw Daru let the Fords go. He's a couple of seconds back. He's not fallen too far back. Warntire seems to have lost the pace on Morvik, it would seem. Or Warntire has made a mistake. But looking at the lap times last time around, actually Warntire was slightly quicker, about 3/10 quicker than Morvik last time. So, could just simply be a mistake a couple of laps ago that Warntire hasn't been able to recover from properly yet. But we will see. 1.7 that separates himself and Morvik at the moment. Shad has come out of the bits. There he is. Oh, now we've got... That's Maroof that's just come through. Oh, it's just behind actually this Corvette. I wondered if that was race leader. It was not. There's Maroof. Maroof is there, but that's not Doc directly ahead of him. So, wow, that's Tautauner then. Yes, it is. So Tautauner in position unknown. And question is to Heidi first. Heidi is indeed first in class. There he is. Is that Villalobos right behind him? It is indeed. His teammates actually closing him in. Villalobos has been setting some pretty damn impressive laps. I've been keeping an eye on his lap times. He's the only one anywhere near the kind of pace that he's been setting. That 4:17. Of course, we don't know what pace that Heidi's been able to set, as he is in the timing bag, as previously mentioned, and that is James. It's either James or Murphy right behind him. It's James. So there's the 2 leads. And James giving a flash of the light. He doesn't have to do that. Ah! Sunshine! The rain is indeed beginning to ease. Now, I did think we were going to see the rain either stop or get lighter as the rain went on, as the race went on. As we have just over 41 minutes remaining in this race, the sun is beginning to come out, which means we could start seeing people come in at towards the end of the race when these wet tyres give up. That's, of course, assuming the wet conditions don't dry out enough. But if the sun's coming out, I would oops! James getting a little bit squirrely there, coming through the Corvette curves. I would expect the track to dry out pretty damn quickly. In comes De Heidi, actually. And Villalobos, both of the lead Corvettes are in. Along with a... Oh, Nick Meadows had a big problem somewhere. That car is not driving straight at all. Oh dear, that's from 3rd in class as well. Or 3rd in the race. So, 3 in the pits. They can't chance going on to slicks now. Well, this is an awkward position then. And we've just lost. Oh no, no, Nick Meadows still in. Who have we just lost? It's an LMP we just lost. Who was it? I'm not very good at remembering who was there beforehand, unfortunately. We have lost one of the LMPs, I believe. It's not Towner. Trying to identify who. It's not Storm. Nope. No, unfortunately I can't identify who that is that we've just lost. So that sounds like De Heidi is back underway. Where is... Warwick is actually listed 2nd. He'll be 3rd because, of course, De Heidi's still ahead of them. De Heidi's just come out of the pit, so De Heidi's still in class lead by a very long way. There's Villalobos coming out right with him. However, if they've gone on to another set of wet tyres, which I would imagine they would have to, surely. They would have to... And Nick Meadows still in the pit, so he hasn't retired. Surely these guys have to come out of the pits on wets again. There's no way that the slicks could work at the moment, but it does mean, well, it's almost certainly going to mean they're going to have to come in again. The rain is still falling, but it's not falling by a lot. As we can see, the sun is out, so that is going to be very interesting. Oh, that's my roof. That's completely lost it on the puddles there, but the puddles are beginning to disappear, I think. So I might be seeing a bit less of that as Worn Tyre has come in. Nick Meadows still in the pit. He's been there such a long time. He's now out. So Nick Meadows losing a whole bucket load of time. That's Rigor that's come through. And again, uncertain of what position Rigor is in. That's Andrex. And Andrex, MG and Shad that have just gone through. Worn Tyre. Of course, he's staying in the pits quite a long time, actually. I'm a little bit surprised by that. But again, anyone that is pitting now could well have to pit again if they remain on the wet tyres. It's going to be very, very interesting. All going to be down to how the track conditions change. Less than 40 minutes to go. So there's still, I mean, if there was only 10 minutes to go, it wouldn't really matter as Kofi comes in as well on the yellow Ford. If there was only a few minutes left, it really wouldn't matter, but there's still a substantial amount of time left on the clock. So, it's still raining though. It's all ifs and buts and maybes at the moment. Oh, hello, we've got action down here. It's Shad and MTZ. So MTZ's lost the back of the M6 of Andrex. Andrex actually gained about 3 seconds advantage over MTZ that time around. And you can visibly see how little rain there now is. Oh! Big chink over to the right now. Actually, both for the for the Corvette rather, and the Ferrari. That's a very, very early break then for MTZ in the Corvette. He could be trying to string it out. Trying to string his tyres out to not pit until he has to go onto the dryers. I wouldn't be at all surprised if people are going to do that, as that is one of the MLPs coming through. Calfee just get himself a penalty there? No, he had that from previously. But he's on the back of Gutan. So, Calfee has not long come out of the pits. Gutan, I believe, was in the pits a little while ago. Oh dear! That's not good. That's definitely not good. that would be the most anticlimactic end to a endurance race we've had in a while. Massive disconnect. Ironically, we still have our 2 class leaders. Oh, what a shame. What a great shame. We were approaching we're approaching 3/4 distance. You can see the time remaining at the top. Oh, what a shame. I was really looking forward to how the weather was going to affect the upcoming strategy. And the Heidi's just cruising now. Oh, what a shame. Well, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, absolutely nothing I can do about it. Most of the field has magically vanished. This race is going to be called within the next few minutes, I would think. So, with all due respect, I am not going to watch these 6 drivers carrying 6 drivers around Le Mans. No. If they were all fighting for position, maybe. But 30-minute sprint to the end, not with 6 drivers, no. So I'm afraid with that disconnection, I am actually going to call an end to the stream here. Ladies and gentlemen, I wholeheartedly apologise for what has just happened. You can clearly see it is out of our control. There's nothing we can do here at AOR in these eventualities. Sadly, it is the nature of the beast, but I am going to call an end to the stream here as the race is all but done. It is a great shame that has happened, but that is what it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us throughout the stream. It's been a great pleasure commentating for you guys. If you want to get involved, we are always looking for new names to come across and join us. Head over to apexonlineracing.com. Have a look at the forums. Get involved. You may have crazy bears like me shouting about your antics. We have a whole range of games that we cover here. Of course, Project Cars 2. We have got we cover iRacing, Assetto Corsa, F1 2017. Head over there and sign up and get involved, and we would love to see you trackside. But for now, my name is King-Kodiak, and I will see you right here for more AOR action. Thank you very much, and good night.